This is the Crescent City Connection podcast, bringing you the hottest takes from the 504 to the 225.
With the first pick in the 2019 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson from Duke University.
This is episode 4 of the Crescent City Connection podcast. We got a good episode set up for you guys today. We're going to be talking Pelicans Summer League basketball, Saints football, LSU football. So we're going to touch on everything a little bit today and broaden our horizons as far as what we've been coming with lately. So we're going to jump right into Summer League and then hand it off straight to JJ and get his take on everything.
Yeah, I mean, when I projected us to win Summer League the last podcast, it was kind of thinking that Zion would play some minutes and Frank Jackson would play more than one game. That didn't happen. Summer League is not about winning. Summer League is about seeing what you got with your draft picks and your second year players. And from what I've seen, it's almost better than us winning Summer League. From what I've seen from Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jackson Hayes, we know for a fact we hit on both of those draft picks, and also our second round pick in D.D. Silva looks like another hit. I mean, that's 3 darts. I think 2 of them hit the red bullseye, 1 hit the green. Props to Griffin for some more good GMing right there.
Yeah, Nall and Hayes were definitely impressive, to say the least. I mean, Hayes is literally a highlight reel throughout Summer League with probably one of the most ridiculous dunks I've seen since Vince Carter. I think we can agree on that in the Olympics. So, Bobby, what was your overall reaction to Pelicans Summer League?
Well, to continue with JJ about DD, his question mark has turned into an exclamation mark because we found out what he can do. Of course, Alexander, beast mode. What he was putting up, like 24, 28, then a 32 spot.
Yeah, he also did make first team Summer League.
Yeah, so easy roster spot right there to go with Frank Jackson because he put up a 30 spot, and like you said, sit down, kid. We don't want to take a risk. But to go off anybody else, I did like Dawkins. He was a second-year player. They talked a little bit about him. He's number 24, I believe. He was doing some nice things.
Yeah, he's got a good little jump shot on him.
Yeah, I did like him.
Like a 3-and-D type player.
And his dad, I think his dad played in Duke for when he was in college ball, I believe. I could be wrong, but I did think I read that part. But he does come from some basketball players, and he's second year, and he's not too bad either. But Jackson Hayes, great pickup.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Nickeil Alexander with the points. Even better than the points from what I've seen from him, his ability to lead that team, his passing ability. To me, it just looks like we found our guy to run that second unit. His passing ability with the left and right hand, playmaking ability to finish with the left or right. I've seen him make incredible layups with the left and right. Is out of the pick and roll playmaking, finding shooters, spotting up everywhere, and the natural chemistry he got with Jackson Hayes. They're going to be coming off the bench together, and that bench, you add Frank Jackson with that bench, and you add J.J. Redick with that bench, is going to be just exciting as the starting unit.
Hart too.
We keep forgetting about Hart. That second unit is going to be just as dangerous as the first unit.
Yeah, and Alexander Walker, he seems like a big guard to me that could play to 1 or to 2.
Yeah, 6'6", and Lonzo's big.
Yeah, he's big, and I mean, 24.3 points in Summer League. That's
and his
pretty
assist,
serious.
His assist is up there.
His assist is there, and you can just tell he's got the ability to, like you were saying, to lead the team. You know, even if it was a second team, you know, he's got that in him.
Yeah, he's definitely earned regular season minutes
for sure. Brad, what's your take?
Yeah, that was my take on Summer League. I think we showed that we can be a very deep team, and that's really all I wanted to see. I kind of like what they did with Zion. They gave him a few minutes. He showed, I am Zion. As soon as he bumped his knee, he said, all right, let's get this guy out of here. No more playing Summer League for you. I kind of like what Josh said with Frank Jackson. Get him out of there, too. He's a proven NBA player. There's no need for him in the Summer League. I was just telling these guys, I didn't like all the teams that had guys starting from last year playing in the Summer League like Kevin Knox and Jared Allen. I just didn't like it. But moral of the story, the Pelicans are deep, and they showed that. And the reason that we're so excited is for guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes.
Nickeil is such a steal.
Nice.
All of these guys.
Such a steal.
And then I remember in the first episode, Bobby said that his offensive game needed a little bit of work, which wasn't wrong. It does need a little bit of work, but he showed how good he can be. And like I said, what I liked about him, he played under Buzz Williams at Virginia Tech. Great coach.
Mm-hmm.
His game will translate to the next level. I really believe that.
And just watching his game, I know this could be jumping the gun a little bit, but just breaking down Nickeil Alexander's game, he kind of looks like a young C.J. McCollum. To me, just smooth, super smooth on offense. Off the dribble, a couple dribbles in a nice little mid-range, and his ability to find people too. Yeah, I think that's his ceiling. I think it could be a few years down the line, but I think he's got that type of ability, and his basketball IQ is up there with McCollum.
Let me point out. Go ahead, JJ.
I think he's in the right spot to grow too, with all the other young guys we have around, and with the the training staff we have in the organization right now. So I think he's definitely going to be one to watch for in the future. That could be a pretty
and how
serious.
about Jackson Hayes showing his ability with the jumper?
Yeah,
There was a
that's impressive.
few times Nickeil or another guard drove and dumped it to Jackson Hayes for the little mid-range, and then he also showed his ability to hit the three. I know he's 1 for 1, but they asked him about it after the game, and he said, I've been working on that hard, very hard. So if he can get the ability to hit the outside shot too, it's kind of like a young Anthony Davis.
And that's something you need in the NBA at his position. You need to be a threat from the 3-point line,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's definitely been compared to Anthony Davis a lot.
And how
from
about
what
the
I've
dunk,
been seeing.
how he just climbed up that guy's chest?
It was
I mean,
ridiculous.
I don't know the exact name of the guy that he did that to, but rest in peace to your career. It's over. Go overseas and play, because
It might have
your NBA
been a
career
charge,
is probably
but it
over
was-
with.
No,
No, he
it
slid in
wasn't a
once
charge.
Hayes took off. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not his
He
fault
wasn't
that Jackson
set all the
Hayes
way.
took off from like a couple
Right.
steps
It was
inside the three.
ridiculous.
Dude really was shot out of a cannon right there. Insane.
A couple things he does need to work on, though. If anybody watches Summer League, his box out during free throws, he's kind of lazy on that.
Just overall rebounding, I think.
Yes.
Needs
but,
to improve. I
But
I
as
said
far as
that.
free throws, you saw that he got into one of those fouls late in the game that gave the ball back to the.
Yeah.
I think it was.
He's just not in his man body yet.
Well, I'm about to say, I think one thing
Yeah, I don't
is
think
he
he knows
could
his
put
size
some
yet.
weight on, and
Oh,
I
no
think
doubt he will.
that's going to give him more
No doubt he
confidence
will.
to be in the blocks with those big guys. So I think a year or two in an NBA organization and like with NBA trainers, especially the ones we have,
yes.
he puts on some
Best
weight.
trainers in the-
I
in
mean,
the
look at
whole
AD
game.
when he came in the NBA. He was
Mm-hmm.
skinny, So I don't think that's something that we really need to.
And then if
worry
you
too much
also
about.
look at our Summer League roster, we was only putting one big man at a time out there. It was either Jackson Hayes out there or we would put Bigby Williams out there. They never had that second rebounder. So when the offense was out there, they just make sure they keep Jackson Hayes or Bigby off the glass, and there was really nobody else to get the rebound. So I think that's why you kind of seen Jackson Hayes struggling on the boards when you got another guy, when you're playing him on side of, let's say, Favors or another big-time rebounder on our team. I think his rebounding flaws will be diminished
Yeah,
a
he
little
won't
bit.
have as much responsibility as far as rebounding, but
Yeah, and they won't be keying, like, box him out and we'll get the rebound. You know, they'll have two guys that need to really box out.
right.
So.
Let's talk a little bit about Zion and what Coach K actually came out and said about, he thought Zion shouldn't have been playing at all. So let's talk a little bit about that, Bobby. What you think as far as, Zion being out of shape or,
I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but you have a lot of pressure on the organization to put this kid out there so everybody can see what he can do. I mean, the arena was filled up for this kid. Celebrities were coming out. They all knew everybody wanted to see this kid. And, of course, we want to see him, too, as fans and as the organization. You just drafted this guy. Like, let's get him on the court. But when it comes down to it, even though it hurts everybody, you probably shouldn't have played him because you know what he does. He's been running around doing this commercial, this photo shoot.
Yeah,
everything,
trying to get all his contracts situated.
Coming
He's
to
on
New
every
Orleans,
award
getting an
ceremony.
apartment, all that stuff. So this guy's been running ragged at 18, 19 years old. He just turned 19. So he's probably out of shape and not ready to jump in there right away. But like I said, everybody wanted to see it. So
right. And I think we might have touched on that in one of the past episodes. Like, I think it might have been JJ who said he didn't even expect to see Zion in Summer League.
And look, I mean, they're criticizing us for playing him. He played 9 minutes. 9 minutes. And he had 11 points and, 4 top 10 highlights. Like, yeah, we seen that. We sat him down. We really just wanted to get his feet wet, get some NBA playing time. I don't think the objective was to ever play him that much. We played him 9 minutes. I mean, yeah, Coach K, yeah, he was out of shape. I mean, like Bobby said, he's doing all his tours. He's trying to get his shoe deal situated. He's trying to get his contract situation situated. I mean, yeah, and the whole notion that he's overweight, Zion needs to lose weight now. ESPN talking about that. They're worried about injury concerns. You know how much I'm worried about it? 0%. This dude's going to be just fine. Once he gets into training camp, like you said, the number one training staff, they're going to have him on a diet. They're going to have him on a training program. I'm not worried about it at all. The NBA season, 82 games. You don't think he's going to be in shape?
Exactly, and that's what I was thinking. Everybody wanted to see him. Yeah, we're going to have 82 games, maybe even a few playoff games to see this guy. I didn't really want to see him in the Summer League, so I kind of like how they played it out. He played a little 9 minutes and got him out of there. That was it. I think they handled it very well. I see where Coach K was coming from. What's the point? That was him. You know, it's like, what's the point? He was number 1 draft pick. He's a generational talent. So that's all he was saying, and that's why I agree with Coach K in that situation. But I think we handled it well.
Yeah.
Played 9 minutes, had a little bump on the knee, sat him down for the rest of the time. So we did good.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, if a brand new Ferrari is sitting in my garage, I'm going to want to drive it, you know? So it's like everybody wanted to see him play, you know? So it was good. We saw some flashes and, you know, we got some excitement, but I'm not too worried about the injury
and
either.
just speaking on that a little bit more, I mean, they saying he's a little heavy. He's gonna lose some weight and come into regular season in tip-top shape like he did his first year at Duke. I mean, first game at Duke, he looked just tremendous in physical shape. He's gonna lose 15 pounds in a NBA training program, you know. So I'm not worried about it.
What's funny is how they always portray players before and after. Because they'll say, look at this dude at 6'8", 280, doing all these 360 windmills and everything at his size. And now that he's drafted and everything, he needs to lose weight. He needs to do this. Like, you just marveled over everything he did at that size, now that he's at the next level.
Dude, he might not have been working out like he usually is during the season, but I'm sure he ain't sitting on his ass eating McDonald's every day. You know?
Mean,
This
he
is what
doesn't
I
look
kinda
like
wanna
Charles
say.
Barkley over there.
Yeah.
He's in shape.
No offense,
I
Chuck.
kind of want to say, look at how ESPN and national news they've flip-flopped on Zion. I mean, when they thought he was going to the Knicks or one of them big markets, they're like, all hail Zion, all hail Zion. And once they seen that he was going to the Pelicans, now, they're concerned about his shot. They're concerned about him being overweight. It's lies. It's lies. Zion is the truth. I'm telling you.
So with that, let's move on into some, you know, general Pelicans news. So JJ Redick is officially a Pelican. He's going to wear number 4. Super excited about that. He's going to be a big aspect to the offense, you know, all around and the second team. So we're excited about that. Came out today, said Christian Wood's cut. I guess we have our rosters pretty much where it needs to be now after that cut.
Yeah, that puts us at 15, and I also think the cut of Christian Wood kind of tells you that we like what we've seen from Jackson Hayes, and that Jackson Hayes is going to see some minutes in the regular season. And a lot of Christian Wood's minutes from last year is also going to go to Nicolo Melli also. And I really like what Griffin is doing with the defensive coach. If you haven't heard, they have rumors that not a rumor, we've fired David Ehrman, who was the defensive mind for the Pelicans the last couple of years, and they've offered a contract to Jeff Bzdelik. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's one of the best defensive minds in all of basketball, very respected. Pat Riley said, in quotes, I can't think of a man in the NBA that has more experience, more knowledge, more wisdom about the defending in the league in a temporary game today than Jeff. He was the defensive coach of Memphis, them 5 years of the grit and grind Memphis days. We all know that defense was holding teams under 100 every game. And he also was the defensive coach for the Rockets last year. He took over last year. 2 years ago, their defense was bottom third of the league. As soon as he took over, their defense was number 6 in the league. So, I mean, if you add that to the up and down style that we're going to be playing on offense, So we could average between 115 100 points a game on offense, and then the ability to hold teams under 100 points. My God, that's the key pickup.
It's gonna be nice, and especially when he's got solid defensive players to coach like Lonzo.
Yeah, he can.
and
I mean,
Drew.
he's gonna get the best out of what we already know and what we got in Lonzo and Drew. The potential to be one of the best backcourts defensively in the whole entire league. And then you pair, let's say, Derek Favors and Zion protecting the paint and protecting the drive. And his emphasis for the defense is strictly make sure the teams taking contested shots, but most of all, rebounding. Don't let offensive rebounds. So getting the rebound every time on defense, and then you pair that with Alvin Gentry's style and get the ball up quick, it's gonna mesh perfectly. That's a perfect fit.
Pretty much just a run and go. Get the
Yeah,
rebound,
and let's
outlet,
go.
get to
You
your
got
spot, and let's
Brandon
go.
Ingram running. You got Lonzo Ball, who can. I've seen multiple times him just making full court passes. He's got eyes in the back of his head at the point guard spot, and then we got athletes all over that could finish. And then you got JJ Redick. If they do clog the paint on the fast breaks, you kick it out, and he's shooting career 41% 3-point shooter. So, I mean, that's deadly.
Yeah, and I mean, Gentry's already came out and said he wants to be number one in pace.
Number
in the
one,
NBA,
he said
so-
he would be mad if we're not number one in
Right.
pace next year.
With these young legs, I won't be surprised if we're not. So,
And just speaking on Alvin Gentry, I want to put him on the hot seat. All right, we seen David Griffin. He's making all the right moves. We got the everybody around him. We got the number one trainers. I mean, everything is just coming together. David Griffin has put versatile players that are extremely skilled, giving Gentry the opportunity to put multiple different lineups on the court. So the pressure is really on Alvin Gentry to make sure these lineups are right, make sure he's spreading the minutes correctly. Because, I mean, look at Alvin Gentry. As he has 14 losing seasons at head coach in the NBA, only 2 winning seasons. So, and we're giving him a lot of responsibility to grow all our young guys. Look at our roster. If he cannot win with this roster, he's just not a good coach. So I really want to put Alvin Gentry on the hot seat. If you can't win with this roster, I mean, you got to go and we got to go find us another coach.
so what you thinking? How many wins?
I mean, I think you got to give Gentry a year. I think that's what Griffin is doing. What do you
Another
think?
year?
How
though?
many more
Or
years you got to
I mean, you give him a half a year at least and see what he can do
I
with
know I
this
give him
new
a whole
lineup.
year. I give him a whole year with this.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Griffin is going to come in and clean house as far as like the
He
coaching
didn't
stuff.
clean house.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So he's got to give.
Usually when
Gentry
GMs
the
come
year.
in, they clean house. He kept Gentry.
Yeah, he's
So
giving him a
he's
chance.
yeah.
But that Gentry's definitely on the hot seat. You know,
Definitely.
I think he probably realizes that. Like he's got to show.
Yeah,
us
look, the West is
something.
loaded, so it's not necessary. If we do miss the playoffs, but still 45 plus wins, he did his job. But if you're under 42, under 40 wins with this roster, you gotta go.
Dude, I think he's got to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, the only way if we don't make the playoffs, because like I said, the West is stacked. I mean, if you got to get 48 wins to make the playoffs, and we just barely missed the playoffs, you know,
My thing is the Pelicans kind of knew what they were getting with Gentry. He had that already. He was under 500 career as a head coach. But what they wanted to get him out of that Warriors system. He was an assistant with the Warriors when they won that first championship. What was that, 2015?
yeah.
He was an assistant on that team, and that's when the Pelicans went get him. So I kind of agree, but not really.
Look,
I
his
mean-
only other winning season was with Steve Nash, one of
Yeah.
the best point guards of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, 2-time MVP. So that was a winning season, and then a couple of years ago, we made that run with AD just tearing it up. You know, I mean, this roster is loaded.
Yeah, we
you
got
got to
the
make the
guys.
playoffs.
We got the guys. We really do have the guys to win. Justin just said he thinks we need to make the playoffs right now. I just want to see progress. I think we're really building for the future. It would be nice to get into the playoffs in this deep West. The West is so deep. It would be
It is
so nice
stacked.
to make the playoffs. But it's not the end of the world if we don't. But kind of like Josh said, we got to see improvement. We need to see at least 45,
But you know-
46 wins. We need to see that.
Yeah, you know, but if the Pelicans don't make the playoffs next year, you're disappointed.
Yes,
because you're
that's
like,
facts.
dude,
That's
when you
facts.
look at us on paper, you're like, the Pelicans should make the playoffs. Look at this
On
team.
paper,
You get the
they're
number
definitely a
one
playoff
pick.
team.
You get a number one pick overall. You get a crazy haul from trading away AD. I mean, in my opinion, you got to make the playoffs.
And just speaking of number one picks, what number one picks come into a team this loaded and ready to make
Make a
noise?
move.
I mean, usually when you're the number one pick, you're probably gonna have to tank again to get somebody else. I mean, he's ready to win now.
The only problem is on paper, look at everybody else in the West. Like let's take a step back and look at the Clippers. Let's look at the Lakers. The Rockets got better. Everybody got better in the West.
All right, so let's
give him
rattle
a
them
headache,
off.
honestly.
Let's rattle them off. Who on paper is better than the Pelicans in the West?
You got to say the Clippers.
Clippers.
You have to say the Lakers.
The Lakers.
Houston
the
with
Rockets.
Westbrook signing.
Houston. The Jazz.
Still the Warriors. The Warriors.
I think-
Would you say that though?
Yes, I
No
would.
Thompson.
No,
Thompson's
Thompson
out
this
for the
with
year.
Clay leading the show. Don't
No,
sleep
Clay's
don't
not
know.
in.
I mean, with Steph leading the
Dude,
show.
I
don't
think
sleep on the
I
Warriors.
think Drew Holiday shut Steph
Don't
down.
sleep on the Warriors.
I think
Who
we
else
And
do
then
we
a
have to
lot of
worry
people
about?
put the Trailblazers above us, but Drew and Lonzo have the ability to
Yeah.
shut that. We've already showed we have the ability
Drew
to shut them
Holiday
down.
is Dollar Dame's daddy.
And then another Western team that they always put ahead of us is the Spurs.
You gotta think
so they
about
got
Denver,
Aldridge
too.
and
Let's
DeRozan.
not
I
forget
think
Denver.
we're better.
Denver.
That's a good one. Denver's a
Yeah,
Denver could be
very
a
good
top
team.
three.
Okay, so of all the people we've mentioned 5 or 6 teams ahead of us. So
we didn't
should
even
make
say the
playoffs.
Spurs. We didn't even say the
I
Spurs.
think we're better than the Spurs.
I
I
think we're
kind of
better
do
than the
too.
Spurs.
I kind of do too. But I'm just saying that's a staple in the West. The Spurs have been like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say a dynasty the last 5 years, but before that they were like a 10-year
Oh,
long
no
dynasty.
doubt, but
Yeah,
It's today now.
You can't
It's
talk
today.
about
Right,
without Popovich. He's made his mark there. He's always there.
Who?
Popovich.
oh yeah,
So
definitely.
You can
I
never,
mean,
can
they
never
got the
rule
best
out,
coach
matter,
in the NBA.
Yeah, no matter who he
Definitely.
has, he'll make something happen and he'll figure
Yeah.
out a way to get in it.
But I mean, it comes down to who you putting on the court. We got more talent on paper. We have more talent than the Spurs.
Yeah, it all comes down to what.
So
Gentry-
basically, with what we just said, the Pelicans should be a playoff team.
No doubt.
So if we squeeze in with that 8 seed, who cares? Let's go play the Clippers or the Lakers in LA. Let's go have some fun. Let's go make some noise. Let's go win a few games.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how you get better. You got to get that
No
playoff
doubt. The
experience.
first year,
Yes.
you always put a scare into that team, kind of like the Warriors did to the Lakers.
Exactly.
They put a scare into the Lakers that first round. Yeah, they got beat, but they took that confidence and that experience and they rolled over to the next year. And I think they made it either all the way to the championship the following year or the Western Conference Finals. So it takes 2 years, I agree. But the first year, we got to get into the playoffs and get some experience.
So let's jump into some Saints news. We haven't touched on that a whole lot yet. About 2 weeks out of training camp.
Who that?
We're ready for that. So we got a few little concerns that we want to discuss. Obviously, some defensive line concerns. Anyamata suspended for a game. You lost Okafor. So
Rankins.
let's talk about that a little bit.
With the Achilles injury, we all know that takes a while to come back from. Losing Alex Okafor, you got Anyamata with the 1 game marijuana suspension. But
Stay off the weed.
no, legalize the weed. Like, that's my opinion on it. But
Anyway.
yeah, for defensive line, we Marcus Davenport really needs to take that next step. We all know the first to second year step for especially defensive line is huge. So I'm expecting Marcus Davenport to slide right into Alex Okafor's position at the outside rusher, and Cam Jordan also. We all know he's been a staple. He just got paid, and we need them 2 guys to really hold down that defensive line, hold down the fort until Anyamata can come back, and also Rankins, because Rankins had a career year last year.
We also have Malcolm Brown, the plug in there too, coming
Yeah,
from the
from the
Patriots,
Patriots, yeah.
overall first round.
He's a
pick
good
too.
run stuffer.
Yeah, so we did do a good job picking up somebody to fill the void for now.
Yeah.
Hopefully he plays the way he does, but defensive line for the first time in a while is our biggest problem on defense. 'Cause-
Yeah, it's usually
it's
secondary.
but secondary is pretty stacked right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we picked up what you say, Chauncey Johnson.
Oh, Chauncey Gardner Johnson from Florida.
Florida.
And me and Bradley was just talking about this off air. I mean, anybody that plays SEC football, SEC defense, it's basically like you're already in the NFL. That translates. It translates right away to the NFL. And I wouldn't be surprised if a player like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson puts a fire under Patrick Robinson's position at the nickel spot and also Von Bell at the other safety spot, I mean, he could slide right in there, and he's a really good playmaker, and also he can hit. He's a really good defender.
Now, to switch it up a little bit, another guy that spent 4 years starting in the SEC, Eric McCoy out of Texas A&M. I really like this guy. I feel like he's going to come in and be our starting center and kind of just pick up right where Max Unger left off of. I was just telling Josh, I was one of the very few people when we traded Jimmy Graham for Max Unger. I loved it. I didn't care if Jimmy was out of New Orleans. I knew he would never be what he was in New Orleans with Drew Brees because he was a product of Drew Brees. He was a product of his environment. So I really love the pickup, getting a center that I feel like can start and be a plug-in guy for us right there week one. I really like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like you were saying with Jimmy Graham, he got his head big because Drew Brees was spoon-feeding him jump balls. I mean, he wanted wide receiver money. Like you said, when we made the move for Max Unger, Saints fans weren't mad. We was like, okay, yeah, that's a good move. I mean, Drew Brees can make
the real Saints fans weren't mad.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Brees is making guys out of Hofstra, 7th-round pick, Colson, making him like have Hall of Fame careers. Brandon Cooks, he left. We didn't miss a step.
Robert
Michael Thomas
Meacham,
slides in. Now
Devery
he wants
Henderson.
to get paid. I mean, yeah.
The list goes on and on. Jeremy Shockey at the end of his career.
Yeah, put some respect on Drew Brees' name. This dude is a living legend. A living legend. If Drew Brees had more rings, we've got robbed the last few years. If he had more rings, he would be more in that GOAT conversation, which he already should be. But like you said, Eric McCoy, SEC line, them SEC lines translate straight to the NFL. You're in the trenches. I mean, on the line, all of them guys make it to the league. If you go at Florida, at Bama, LSU, almost all of them linemen make it to the league. And I really like about Eric McCoy, he was the fastest offensive lineman in the combine. You pair him with Teron Armstead, when he came out, he was the fastest lineman in that draft. And I think that's really going to help with our screen game, which when we won the Super Bowl, we was the #1 screen game in the league. And then we're about to switch to the zone running scheme. Now that we got Ingram out of there with Kamara, that's going to really help Kamara with the zone running scheme. And when you got guys like McCoy and Armstead who are super athletic and can pull and get ahead of the running back with the blocks and get to the second level of the defense and create holes there, when you got players like Kamara and Murray that could straight bust you for a touchdown on any given play, Kamara is going to have a Pro Bowl season, no doubt about it. And Eric McCoy could slide in and be a Pro Bowler first year. Don't be surprised on that one.
Write it on the whiteboard. Hot take. Hot take.
No doubt. And Mickey Loomis and the Saints have just been killing the off-season moves, free agent signings, and draft picks for at least the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, well, let's touch on a little bit of that as far as off-season signings and some releases. Obviously, they went and got Latavius Murray to take Mark Ingram's place. So, Bobby, let's get into that a little bit more as far as signings and releases.
I actually don't think there's going to be any missing a step at all with Latavius Murray stepping in for Ingram. Actually, Murray is better ball security than Ingram is. And he has better vision than Ingram. Mm-hmm. If y'all ever notice, once Ingram fumbles the ball or he doesn't get his carries right away, he starts pouting a little bit. I love Mark Ingram, don't get that wrong. But we all see it on the sideline that he starts getting upset, that especially when he fumbles the ball, he starts running with 2 hands. He just runs straight. He doesn't try to watch his cuts. He just goes to where the hole is. Murray is a tall back, a downhill runner, but also speed and can cut and has a very powerful stiff arm. We all saw that when he took over for Dalvin Cook at Minnesota. He was busting 100 yards. Every fantasy football player knows that he was a great pickup. So
yeah, like you said with Mark Ingram, he's not really a playmaking running back. He goes where the play is meant to go, but if that's clogged up, I mean it's nothing. It's a dead play. And when you got players like you said with Murray and Kamara who have great vision and also agility and can make the bounce cut when that hole gets clogged up, they could still make a bad blocking play into a 10-yard game.
And
I mean,
whoever-
players like Ingram would just run into the back of their offensive line.
Exactly. I was about to say, whoever wants to argue with me about Mark Ingram not being a power back or anything, why do you think we always had a third down running back to get the 1 yardage? Because Mark Ingram ran right into the back of every single hole he was supposed to go to. He saw the hole. That's where he's supposed to go. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
2 hands, running right into the back. He didn't see the hole next to him. That's why
Yeah,
we
I
always had a
always
third
said that.
down back.
Yeah.
Every Saints fan knew that. We always had some new running back coming in.
And then Mark Ingram, I mean, we all know the lifespan for an NFL running back is not that long. Mark Ingram was used up big time by Nick Saban in Alabama with the Heisman years. And then he came here, and, I mean, he's just been running up the middle. We use him a lot on the, as Sean Payton likes to call the bloody runs, right up the middle. So, I mean, how many years does Mark Ingram really have left on that body? I mean, yeah, he was splitting a lot of the time with players like Kamara, but he's an older running back, and we slide in a younger running back that's a little bit more athletic and a little bit faster. And Murray, you pair him a 1-2 punch with Kamara, should be really nice.
Yeah, and I think it actually takes a little pressure off of Drew Brees too, because Murray is a very good blocking running back too. So
He's a better pass catching running back.
exactly.
Too,
So
Mark Ingram.
now defenses can't quite predict what we do, because you saw we would get in a rhythm and Kamara would be in the backfield shotgun. The teams would know that, all right, either screen's coming out the backfield or Kamara's coming out the backfield. That's pretty much where the ball is going. Now with Murray back there, it could be a delayed run, it could be a screen, it could be just a regular pass. You can't really guess what we're doing with Murray back there now, because he is more of a dual threat than Mark Ingram.
Yeah, and you got to look, too, when we won the Super Bowl, we were kind of a run-heavy offense. And I think we're going to try to get back to that. Drew Brees is getting older in age. He is starting to decline, like it or not. He's starting to decline, even though he is still one of the best, most elite quarterbacks in the NFL. But to take a little pressure off of him with a little bit more of a run-heavy offense, and then if they do try to start clogging the middle, Drew Brees is going to slice you apart. He's a surgeon at quarterback. Surgeon. I mean, the Saints offense really, when it's at its best, is when it's like 50-50.
Exactly.
Run, pass, 50-50.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Saints, don't be surprised if we're actually a very run-heavy team this year with guys like Kamara, with guys like Murray. But then when we have a guy like Drew Brees to fall back on, when they try to stuff the box on you, God, that's just a beautiful thing to have. I really think we're going to see a very good Saints offense. I'm really just excited to see it.
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about wide receiver. Who is gonna be the number 2?
All right, I want to throw this name out there. He wasn't very much of production last year because he's hurt, but Cam Meredith, that came from the Chicago Bears, was Jay Cutler's rely go-to guy after Alshon Jeffrey left, if everybody remembers him. I know
Yeah, he
Jay
had a
Cutler
great year that
Cutler
year.
was just a gunslinger who threw it up, but he was catching the high balls, the 50-50 balls. He was
Meredith's
going up and get
definitely
there.
a big body guy. It's just he's got
Injury
injury issues.
concerns.
I like Keith Kirkwood coming into his second year. Josh kind of stepped on it. Whenever you take that jump from your first to second year, normally that's the biggest jump you're going to take in your career. This guy's coming into his second year. He's going to have a good year with a guy like Drew throwing him the ball, and we need that number 2 guy. I really like Keith Kirkwood to come in and take that spot.
Yeah, I like both them guys. And he's not a wide receiver, but another name you got to throw out there, he's going to take pressure off Michael Thomas, is Jared Cook. He's going to eat. He's going to eat in the middle of the field. And that's going to be Drew Brees' safety blanket when the rushers start to come from the edge. He's going to know that Jared Cook is huge. He's like 6'6", 6'7", big body in the middle of the field. Drew Brees is going to develop trust in Jared Cook that he could just put it out there when he starts to feel pressure. And if you do get it to him in space, Jared Cook still got the athleticism to house it. I mean, Jared Cook is an underrated signing. I keep bringing it back to our Super Bowl year, but I'm doing it again. We had Jeremy Shockey in the middle. He's the last really, really good tight end we've had. And now we get Jared Cook. And Jared Cook is a beast. And then also another wide receiver I want to throw out there. Look, Ted Ginn didn't get back on the team until like at least halfway through the year. And as soon as he stepped foot back onto the field last year, he made immediate impacts.
Yeah,
so we're gonna have him from the beginning of the year.
Ted Ginn definitely, and I think Jared Cook's going to open up a whole nother aspect to the offense. But I think another guy you got to take into consideration is Trequan Smith, who had an excellent year last year. Honestly, I just remember him getting that touchdown pass from Drew because I was at the game for the record-breaking pass. I caught it on video and everything. So, like, I like Trequan. He's a young guy who you know, can step up and do some nice things for us. So, I mean, I think we have options there. We just got to figure out who's it going to be, you know?
And remember, Saints fans, that Sean Payton and Drew Brees are like two of the same minds. With these new players, they're going to find a way to put Jared Cook next to lined up at tight end to have a mismatch with a linebacker and just kick him out to the outside on a 5'11" cornerback or a slow linebacker. And like JJ said, this guy can house it. He is fast as well. He is a great catcher, fast, good route runner. Drew Brees is going to put him on, you know what I mean? How do you scheme when Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, Alvin, and Murray are all on the field at the same time?
Yeah,
and then you put Ted Ginn right in between those two for the speed.
Take the top off.
And don't say those guys wouldn't be on the field at the same time because you know damn well they be. Damn well they be. And Taysom Hill, don't forget about him. The little corkscrew.
Just about to say that.
I mean, come on now.
A whole nother off season of Sean Payton just in a dark room by himself with a playbook and a whiteboard, just thinking, like, drawing up more ways to use Taysom Hill.
Probably texting Drew, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this?
He really is like the ultimate gadget, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's just...
Madden, you need to step your game up.
And
That's
just
a
thinking
horrible
about
rating.
Sean Payton, I mean, dude, you put Taysom Hill on any other roster in the NFL, and he's probably just rotting on a bench. You really got to respect Sean Payton and the offensive mind that this dude has to really be able to use and exploit every offensive talent he has on a team and always put them in the best positions to succeed.
And one more name a lot of people don't really talk about is Austin Carr. Austin Carr is going to play out of the slot, and he hasn't really had that much production-wise.
Drew Brees likes him.
But I've seen him, and I like that Drew Brees likes him. That's what I like. I feel like they have a connection, and I feel like you need a guy to go to out of the slot kind of in third down situations.
Kind of like an Edelman.
Exactly,
Welker.
like an Edelman or Welker guy. That's what I really like. That's what I was thinking personally. A guy like Lance Moore, like you said, going back to our Super Bowl team, that's kind of a very good comparison right there. I really like that. That's just another name to watch for this coming up year at the receiver spot.
So as far as the receiver number 2 spot, I think we definitely have a lot of options. But let's talk more about some season expectations. Like, what do you guys
Win
see?
the Super Bowl.
I mean, obviously that's what needs to happen.
All right. Besides that, I got expectations for our defense. Our secondary, it should be explosive. Eli Apple coming in. Everybody knows the story with the Giants, but everybody knows a player in the right system makes the player that much better. He's with old Ohio State players. He had his first interception with us.
That's a first-round pick right there.
Exactly. He had his first career interception as soon as we traded for him. This guy, he's the number 2 corner, so he's not going to be guarding the number 1 guys. Take off pressure. You got Marshawn Lattimore over there, of course. You got Bell back there trying to up his game because we just drafted Chauncey, so he's on his heels.
He's on.
Marcus Williams, everybody knows his story. As soon as that Minnesota bullshit miracle happened, he's been in the gym every day doing the same thing, coming back. He's going to be even better. I think he's going to have a Pro Bowl season. That's my hot take. Marcus Williams, safety Pro Bowl.
My guy going into this year on defense, since we talking about that, Demario Davis going into his second year, our linebacker.
He was nice last year.
He was in on every play, it seemed like, at linebacker. Dude is a beast. He just seems like Jonathan Vilma to me. It's like our coaches, we have like a format in which we try to we know what we want in each position. And dude, this team, you can go position to position. it just looks a lot like that Super Bowl team. A lot.
Demario Davis is a very good one, and I'm really big on him.
He's a
But
tackle
another one
machine.
that kind of goes back to what I was saying, guys that play in the SEC and they play for 3 or 4 years, Alex Anzalone. Watch him step up big this year and really produce. I'm
He's
talking
been a
about
beast.
produce with not only 90-plus tackles, I'm talking about the forced fumbles. He had that big forced fumble last year against Adam Thielen in that win in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about a few picks, too, because he's a very good athlete.
Yeah,
That's
he had
what
a
some
couple
people don't
picks.
say about him. He kind of gets that white boy, thrown on him a little bit. But that guy's an athlete.
Hey.
That guy's a 4-5 guy, and he's a real athlete.
Tell me you don't see Scott Vegeta in him.
Come on now.
Scott
That's
Vegeta.
perfect.
And then AJ Klein is like Scott Shanley.
Hey, don't forget we got Patrick Robinson coming back too off
Yeah.
an injury at the nickel.
Yeah, we lost him, after week 1?
Yeah, like right at the season.
Yeah, and I mean, as soon as he went down, we kind of started to, we were searching for
Yeah.
that other cornerback. We had
Crawley was just
Crawley
falling
in and
apart.
out. We had PJ Williams in and out. I mean, PJ Williams did all right.
He started to step up once he found that he can play nickel. Once we started to put PJ at the second cornerback spot to guard the number 2 wide guys, he's not good on big bodies. Nickel, PJ Williams good at nickel. I will say that.
And I keep saying Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but I think he could really step up and be like that kind of Roman Harper guy, like that guy that we're gonna use a lot in blitzing from that nickel spot. And he's also he's a ball hawk. He's
A honey
great
badger.
anticipating, honey badger type player. He can anticipate where the quarterback is going, and he's got the hands. A lot of defensive backs, they got brick hands. This guy, when it hits his hands, it sticks, and then he's got the ability to house it. So
Is that what it does, JJ? It sticks?
yeah, I mean, well, it kind of sticks to a lot of people's hands nowadays with the gloves, but
Yeah.
a lot of defensive backs still can't catch it, even with the gloves. So this guy
Yeah.
got hands.
Yeah, that's really one thing that I like in defensive backs. I like when they really have hands and really have ball skills. Because a lot of people say defensive backs, they're just receivers that can't catch. Well, that's true, but not for the good ones. The good ones have ball skills.
Yeah.
The good ones can catch the ball. They'll go up and get it over these wide receivers. To me, people are kind of saying he's older. He's not in the top 5 DBs anymore. You got to look at a guy like Patrick Peterson. To me, he's still up there at the top of his craft. And that's kind of who I like to compare a guy like Marshawn Lattimore to. I feel like they kind of play the same style. They can play man-to-man. They can bump and run. But they can also play zone defense. And I like what Bobby said. I really think Marcus Williams is going to have a very good year. But I'm so big on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I'm really so big on him. I really feel like he's going to come in and he's going to be a starter at the safety position. And I understand that it's kind of a logjam there at the safety position with guys like Vaughn Bell
Vaughn Bell needs to
and
step
Marcus
up.
Williams. But exactly, if Vaughn Bell don't step up, Gardner will take his spot.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And then when you have an offense like the Saints, when you have a defense that can make takeaways and get our offense the chance to take over at like the midfield, I mean, that's dangerous. So give our offense more opportunities from having players on a defense that can make takeaways. I think that's huge. And we have a lot of defenders that can make takeaways.
Yeah, so it's definitely Super Bowl or bust this year. We'll let Drew ride out into the sunlight.
Yeah, old John Elway style.
Yeah, 2 in a row would be nice.
Peyton Manning style too.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So let's jump
Yeah.
into let's touch on LSU football because we haven't jumped a whole lot into that, and Brad is like the man as far as LSU football stuff. So let's let him run it down a little bit and give you guys a little information as far as LSU football and some hot takes on that. So be rad from the boot.
So it should be a real fun year this year to watch LSU football. Everybody knows today was SEC Media Day. Coach O spoke. He brought along with him Joe Burrow, and he brought Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit is the new number 7 at LSU. Everybody know that's a
There we
number
go.
that everybody wants, and it's only given to you at LSU if you're a baller, if you can represent that number. I feel like Grant Delpit is going to be a top 5 pick in next year's NFL draft. You heard that here first. That's the hot take of the day. Grant Delpit, a top 5 pick. But I'm really excited about the offense. And I know a lot of people have been saying it, but this year is the year because of the pickup they made. They went and get Joe Brady from the Saints. They stole the Saints passing game coordinator, brought him to Baton Rouge, and he's got guys like Jamar Chase from Rummel Justin Jefferson from Destrehan, Terrence Marshall from Parkway, all Louisiana guys, all 5-star guys, and these guys are going to eat with a guy like Joe Burrow really getting them the ball, and everybody knows LSU's still going to be able to run the ball, but they don't really know with who. Well, let me tell you who. John Emery from Destrehan, 5-star freshman coming in from Destrehan. The kid's a beast. He'll be in the league in 3 years. That's a fact. John Emery with LSU's offense this year, it is going to be fun to watch. What you think, JJ?
Yeah, no doubt. We're definitely we're deep at running back, super deep at the wide receiver spot. I love Jefferson, love Jamar Chase. Yes. What you think about the offensive line, though? I mean, Joe Burrow is kind of running for his life a little bit more than I would like him to last year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Joe Burrow, his pocket presence can use a little bit of work, and I feel like that's one thing he was probably working on throughout the offseason. But that all plays into offensive line play. Last year, that was the weakness of LSU's team. We beat a lot of teams that we should have beat, but we didn't beat Alabama, and we didn't beat Florida because they beat us up front. When you get beat up front in the SEC, you don't win. So that's a big question, and that's kind of the only question on LSU's offense this year. Since we do have a quarterback and we have all these big-name wide receivers, all these running backs, is our offensive line going to be able to hold up against Alabama, against Auburn, against Texas A&M? That's the question. If you ask me, the answer is yes. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Does us switching to the spread offense take a little pressure off the offensive line, getting the ball out quick?
Yeah, normally that would. That's like an obvious answer to say yes, but let's just hope so, because I'm really feeling that LSU is actually going to be a spread team. They're going to drop back a lot more, because we've all heard it in the past. All the LSU coaches, they all say, oh, yeah, we're going to throw the ball more. And then we see the same thing. They run the ball 80% of the time.
And we're scared to throw it.
Yeah, well, guess what? I don't think that's going to be the case this year. In the name that I said, Joe Brady. Joe Brady is going to have a big impact on this team. He's been under Sean Payton for the last 5 years. He's been soaking that up like a sponge. Yeah. Think about what he's been soaking up. Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Now that's coming to Baton Rouge. So that's what Joe Burrow has to learn from. I'm excited to see it. And I'm just excited about LSU football. I feel like LSU football is a top 5 team. And I feel like all we really need to do is win some battles up front, sneak out a win in Tuscaloosa, and we'll be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Joe Burrow. I mean, a lot of the true LSU fans know how good he is, but a lot of people, I think, underrate Joe Burrow. He's got the moxie and the confidence of a guy like Matt Flynn and past LSU quarterbacks that won it all. We've already seen that in big moments, he doesn't fold under pressure. He makes some big-time plays. He's a little bit more athletic than you think he is. When you look at him, I mean, he surprises you with his athleticism. And then when he does have time back there to throw, he's putting it on the money. He's really accurate, especially on a deep ball. When you got guys like Jamar Chase running down the sideline, he's putting that ball on the money. And defensively, I'm really excited for Clavon Chason. I think that's his name.
Chason, I'm real big on him. He's out of North Shore High School in Houston. This guy came to a camp at LSU his senior year in high school. He came there with one of his teammates from North Shore. He didn't come there to participate in the camp. Well, he's just standing there, and they offer him on the spot. He tells the coach, I play basketball. I've never played football in my life. They still offer him. This guy comes to LSU with no football experience, and he's a freak. And that guy, I really like that one, Josh. That guy's going to come on strong this year. Last year, he played in the Miami game, had 2 sacks, tore his ACL.
Yeah.
He's been recovering. He's had an off season in the LSU weight program. Everybody knows what that's about. That's a really good one. And everybody knows what the LSU defense is about. Smash mouth football. I'm really excited to see it. I'm excited about the whole team, though. Like I said, we're a top 5 team. We need to make some noise.
And another thing, when you hear LSU defense, DBU.
DBU, baby.
How about was it Stingley?
Derek Stingley, guy from Dunham High School right there in Baton Rouge, #1 player in the country. I love it. And here's a name. This is looking to the future for 2019. We got Elias Ricks, the #1 cornerback in the country, kid from California. I don't know. I do know Coach O has California connections, but I love it. When LSU is going get the #1 player in California, That's special, man. That's really special. I love it. I can't wait to see it. But that's another name. Watch Derek Stingley. He'll be locking down your number one this year.
Yeah, and when you in LSU, I mean, usually every year, I mean, we got like 7, 8 guys going into the NFL. This year, we only lost a few guys. I mean, yeah, Devin White's a beast and Greedy Williams, but I mean, we usually lose way more than that, and we're bringing in another top 3 recruiting class to add to them young guys. I think we were a year early last year. I think now that they all got another year under their belt, you add in that recruiting class, we should be a force next year.
Yeah, just to touch on that, that's going to be my last thing. LSU's returning 8 starters on defense, 8 starters on offense. And a lot of people think at the positions that starters aren't returning, we got better. I know that's crazy to say a guy like Derek Stingley is better than a guy like Greedy Williams who's going to be taking snaps in the NFL. But our defensive coordinator, Dave Aranda, said because Derek Stingley was an early enrollee, when he was at bowl practice last year, they said he's the best player on our team right now. And that's what kind of player Derek Stingley is. He's going to be a top 5 pick in 3 years.
Let's hope he could be another Patrick Peterson.
Oh, my God, it's going to be fun to watch. DBU.
This has been the 4th edition of the Crescent City Connection podcast. That's going to do it for us today. Check us out next week. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe. Comment on our videos. We appreciate the feedback.